Hello everyone and welcome to Studying the Masters with Alicia Dianne. We're going to be continuing working on this children's book illustration. We are working from the artist Vashti Harrison, and the work is from the book that she did with Lupita Nyong'o, which is called Sulwe. All right, so this is actually a #1 bestseller. So it sold very well, did very well in the bookstores. So we're trying to just learn as much as we can from these types of illustrations and see what we can incorporate into our own work. I'm going to continue where we left off last week. As soon as this ambulance goes by, or fire truck, and I'm going to finish the few items that were in this little cubby here, and then hopefully we can I'd like to get to the character and the bed and the floor and get all of those things nice and detailed. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to zoom in over here. Let's see which objects these are. Okay, so these are all the books. And here I have, did I just go right over them? Yeah, it looks like I just did that. Alright, so I'm just going to add some detail to these objects. I'm going to grab my pencil, so let's see what type of tool I want to use. I think I'm going to be mostly using that chalk brush that we were using last week. So that might be the most of it. It's a pastel brush by Erin Blaze. Drink my coffee just a second. And I'm going to continue that sheet of paper. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue here. Hope you guys are having a good week. It is officially summer, so happy summer to everyone. I was about to say everyone who celebrates. I think we all celebrate summer. I would like to believe that we all celebrate summer anyway. I'm gonna fix her little arm on this doll here a second. So just feel like her arm is a little bit off. Maybe I'll just zoom in a little bit more so I can see. Let's see. Okay. Add this. And it just looks like her arm is just more like at her side. So I'm just going to try and portray that a little bit more. And let's see. And I want to get into a subject kind of early on, because I think last week I was mostly talking about the illustration, which I do want to incorporate. Obviously, I want to talk to you about what I'm doing here, but I also like to just talk about things that are going on, things that I feel like are important. It's more about just, the whole scope of being an artist and what that entails, and I think those things are important as well. It's about being, the full being, or at least like understanding and the whole idea of what it is to be an artist and what the life entails and all the challenges therein and all the successes therein. And so I just want to incorporate, a bit of all of that stuff. I think maybe I'll put it on normal for a second, because right now it's on dissolve and I just want to kind of smoothen this area out a bit. That's better, I think, a little bit. One of the things that was pretty exciting for me this week was working with the mentorship program that I'm in. And I think I've talked about it a few times. I think I'm in the mentorship program with women in animation, and it's been going really nicely so far. Now there were some challenges at first, for sure, especially with getting things started, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be beneficial. I just wasn't sure at first if it was going to be beneficial like I wanted it to be. But now I'm pretty sure. I feel pretty confident that it's the right place for me to be. So I'm really happy about that. Yesterday we met and we talked about what did we talk about? We talked about like creating a plan for ourselves. And the plan was like it was called like Who, What, Where. So basically determining like what our big goal is for our career, and then kind of like narrowing it down to specifics. So for me, I know that I wanted to make, or I want to make a really professional, proficient, um, I want to use all P words, prosperous, and just a really damn good portfolio that's going to bring more opportunity for me. Specifically, I want to gear my portfolio towards visual development for feature animation, but that's where my sights are set. That's like my ideal, how I want my work to be seen, the type of work I want to make. Um, so I just wanted to put that out there. And so I made this slideshow. And for me, slides is like one of the, I don't know if I want to say easiest, but what feels like one of the best ways to like kind of capture an idea. And I really think that it's, especially if you have a hard time with looking at large blank sheets of paper, which I do, you can kind of use it for anything. Like you can use it, I've used slides to make business plans, I've used slides to plan out things. I did like um, basically, what was it called? What did I call it? Like a whole presentation on JD Story, like a whole I think would be called like a pitch deck. Yeah, that was the term I used, was a pitch deck. So I've made the pitch decks on there before, and I just think that lesson plans, like I've done so much, I feel like it makes it a lot easier. So if you haven't played around with it, the good thing about it too is that Google Workspace is basically free unless you get like the custom email. But when you make a Google email, just like a regular email, at Gmail, it's free. It becomes like a prize when you get your own specific domain name, which I actually use it for mine. It's not required with the domain name, but it does make um, it makes using your domain name with your website email a lot more user friendly. But that's getting into another subject. I was trying to talk about Google Workspace here. So basically, the whole idea of the Google Workspace is, it was all the stuff that Windows used to charge us for crazy. Like, I don't remember how much Microsoft Office used to cost, but it was expensive. I remember that much. I remember it being fairly, a pretty decent investment. It wasn't cheap. That's for sure. It definitely wasn't cheap. So Google is just another alternative that you can use. And like I was saying before, you can use it for just about anything. And I was using it yesterday to create this kind of a goal outlook for myself. And I would highly recommend it. I am going to be sharing like how I use it, specifically starting with not domain names. My head is like I don't know why my brain is malfunctioning this morning. It happens. But I'm using it basically to cover, make sure I'm unlocked, lesson planning. So if you are interested in like teaching for additional income, or if you're interested in sharing art education, and you don't have to be like an advanced artist necessarily to start teaching, because no matter where you are, you're probably further along than somebody else is. So even if like you're teaching art to, obviously if you're teaching to pre-K, and you're an adult, you're going to know a lot more about art than those kids do, probably. Or most likely, there's an opportunity there. And I don't think that there's much that's too involved with if you wanted to teach art. I don't think we need an advanced degree to teach K-12 art. So it's an option out there for artists who are looking for, additional ways to kind of find, a sustainable life as an artist. And it's one of the things that I've incorporated into my art career, and one of the things that I still do and enjoy doing. I just think I think every artist should learn how to teach, because I think every artist is going to need to teach, or, I feel like it can only help you. It can only benefit you. And especially, it made me think about it when I heard Maya Angelou's quote. It says, like, once you know, teach. It starts with when you have, give, and then when you know, teach. And I thought that was really cool, because teaching is not just for teachers. Teaching is for people who have figured out something. So if you've made something easier, or you figured out a better way of doing something, then I think that you have some value to offer, as, in educating others this tip that you've learned. So I think it's important. If you can do it efficiently, and you can actually care about people. If you don't care about people, then you probably shouldn't be a teacher in any capacity. You do have to care about others. So that's just one of the prerequisites, I would say. You have to want to help somebody. But once you discover that, hey, maybe you would like to help somebody, then I think it's a good way to kind of go about things. One of the artists I've seen lots of artists that are working in universities. It happens a lot. A lot of people cross over, and a lot of people do both at the same time. Like, I've talked to several professors who were still working in the studios. One of the professors I met, who did a portfolio review for me, was still a layout artist at Disney. I believe he's at Warner now. But I think the point I'm trying to make is that, it's something that a lot of people, it's a very common crossover, and something that is used at the same time many times as for artists. Just, this is a secure way to have other options, to have additional income. I just think it's a good source to have. It's something that every artist should know, I think. Anyway, I'm starting my course next week, Wednesday. So it's available. You can get it. Go find the link on the Meetup. It's right there right now. You can get to my Meetup either through my website, or just go to cartoonartcenter.com, and then you'll see it there. And it's virtual. So that's that. Other things I wanted to talk about today. Let's see. I'm reading that book for the book club. And I haven't done the review for this week just yet. I'm going to be doing it later today. But I'm finding this latest chapter really cool and really informative. I mean, most of the chapters have been helpful in some way or another. Like, some of them have they all have different types of tips that you can use. But I really like this chapter in particularly, because it really helps you to stop wasting time. And what I mean by stop wasting time is it talks about qualifying, and I never really understood quite what qualifying was exactly before. I mean, I'd heard of it before, but I don't think I fully understood what it meant. And qualifying is basically just determining whether the person you're talking to is really the right buyer for whatever it is that you're selling. This could be for your art in an art fair, or even, like I've said before, if you're potentially looking for some place to work, I feel like it's the same type of thing. You want to make sure that it's the right environment, that the people are the right people for you. All those things I think matter and should be taken into consideration. The types of questions you might ask, like a potential employer versus someone who's looking to buy your work, might vary, of course, but I think you're essentially still trying to vet the person out and see if they're the right person and that you're talking to the right person. So I'll be talking more about that a little bit later. All these things are really interesting. My husband is on this kick now where he's just like he's been reading this like Rich Dad Poor Dad and watching all these Rich Dad Poor Dad videos. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but it's all about like making good investments and like making like better decisions, like making decisions from a better mindset. So instead of thinking like having like a poverty mindset, you train yourself to think and like a wealthier mindset, I think. All right, I'm gonna go and use the this pencil on for a bit. Let's see. I'm gonna make it a bit smaller. And I just think I want to I'm not sure if this is the right color either, but let's see. Just want to add a little bit of line to him. Let's see. I'm reading so many things. It's crazy. I'm also reading this book. I've read it before, but I'm going back to it, and I might end up reading it again and incorporating it into the book club. And the book is called Save the Cat. I really like the book. I've heard some people say like some disparaging things about this book. I think it's more debatable just because it's very popular. A lot of people in the industry have talked about it. So I think because it's popular, more people have opinions on it. I think it's a great book. The language that the I wanted to say character, the language that that's in the book is it's. I think it's just the way that the author speaks that just comes off as a little bit annoying. But I think that's just because he's a writer. Nothing. Take it as you may. But I feel like writers just talk a certain way. They're not talking like it's more dramatized, I guess, and it comes off as probably a little bit egotistical or something. So the language is a little bit it's not it's not bad, but it's just a little bit what is it? It comes off as kind of douchey, I'll say that. But the guy knows what he's talking about. So I'll give him that. So if he comes off a little bit douchey, it's okay because you know what? He says some good things. You get some good tips. And one of the things that I was looking back on this week was writing an outline. So he goes through like like this whole schema of a beat sheet, but after he does that, he talks about all the things that you do before you actually start writing. And why do I talk about this now? Because I think it can be helpful if you are writing a children's book. Like I think whether you're writing like something that's longer or shorter, I feel like you can use this information. So one of the things that he recommends is writing out all your scenes on little, like, what are they called? Index cards. I don't know why I forgot the name for that just now. So he recommends just using index cards, and you're writing out all your scenes before you even begin writing the book, which makes total sense to me. And then you just kind of pin them on a board. And for a screenplay, he said that if you're writing all your scenes, you stick to just having 40. And so a screenplay is obviously much longer than a children's book, as instead of like 110 pages of script, you're probably going to have like 2 to 4 pages of story, and it's not even going to necessarily be in, well, it can be in script format. I think it depends on how you want to write it, but it can be. So regardless, you're doing a much shorter story. So I think that can help if you're looking to, especially, I mean, even if you're an advanced writer, I think this kind of stuff is helpful. But I think it's especially helpful if you're a beginner, because it feels so intimidating and daunting. Like, oh my god, how am I going to come up with this story? Especially if you're an artist first. Because for those of us who are artists first, I don't know why, it just feels more intimidating for some reason. It just feels like, oh god, I don't have the ability, I don't think I have the skill to do this. But you actually can. Once you realize that you actually can do it, it's very, what's the word I would like to use? Empowering, I think, is a good word. Because you realize that you have the ability, you don't have to always wait for somebody to give you a story. You can actually tell your own story. And that, I think, is really empowering for us as artists. Because a lot of us, and I say this from my own experience, we feel like, all right, I'm good at showing the story, but I'm not good at telling the story. And you kind of you disqualify yourself before you give yourself even a chance. And it's funny because if you would have asked me a few years ago, and mind you, I've considered myself an artist my whole life. I think there's no point in time where I didn't feel like I'm an artist, because it was always just something I loved doing, was making art. So I always like felt like, yeah, that's who I am. But if you would have asked me if I'm creative, I would have said no way. That might sound like an oxymoron, like how can you be an artist but not be creative? And I think the reason I thought that because I didn't think I had my own ideas. And that's kind of wild to me now, because I'm like, I don't know why I think that way. I have so many ideas. But I think I disqualified them early on because, let me think of how I can explain why I felt that way. Because mostly I just hadn't put that much thought into it, I think. I think it was mostly just feeling like, well, I just enjoy drawing things. It's not necessarily about ideas. I just want to draw stuff. And I think that was just how I saw myself. But now I know that I have ideas. And just getting a little bit of practice and finding a couple of tools that can help you get your ideas out, I think, is a big deal. So something like creating a board. Think of it as like a mood board, but you're writing, instead of just picking out images, you're picking out scenes. And that can help you a lot just to get started. Because once you just kind of, when you think about it in that sort of context, it's not really intimidating anymore. Then it's just like, all right, take out that fear, because you don't need to be afraid. And you can even adapt stories that have already been done. I mean, if you think of it that way too, you can, like, that's what Walt did. Like, that is like his whole career. He just wanted to reimagine, re-envision things that have already been done. All of these fairy tales and all these stories, for that were considered children's stories or family stories for many years. Some of them, like the folklore, some of them are, darker and stuff. Certainly the originals of like the Grimm's fairy tales that he's used, like Cinderella, were really dark originally, but as far as I know, people still told them to their children. It's like lessons and warnings, there's always like some sort of a moral to the story. So if you look back at like ancient stories and very old stories, you can find some, and I think it's even cooler if you can find them from your own culture, and then begin to reimagine those. Some of them that are just have generic characters, you can start to develop who those characters are, and you can tell stories about them. It doesn't have to be as gatekept as we think it does. I'll make that a little bit darker. I feel like that looks like me a little bit, but oh god. Alright. Let's see. I want to just kind of color some of this a little bit. Alright. Alright, I think I'm going to call that area done. I think I'm going to quit messing with that. I do think I want to make this cushion a little bit, just a little bit lighter. I think I could make the brush bigger. Okay, let's go ahead and paint this window frame. I can find which, oh, it's under here. Okay, so let's go here. I think it's on alpha lock. And what I want to do is just kind of pick the colors for that. It's all kind of in a lavender tint. There's a lot of purple in this book. So I think that can be helpful if you're trying to discover a theme for your story, or like for after you've already written it and you're trying to think about a visual theme. It can help to start kind of with a color, and that can be, that can really translate into what the mood is. You can get some inspiration looking at things that might inspire you. So one of the things that I learned about was just going through Pinterest and finding images, and just create yourself a mood board on Pinterest just by pinning items that you like, and then start to notice colors that continuously maybe come up for you. feel like the top of this should be darker. So I'm trying to okay. I wish there was a pastel of this one that went in the other direction. That's what I wish. Let's try this. Oops, that's too big. What color? Make it brighter. Too dark. Let's see. Maybe the opacity is too much. Or maybe I'll take down the flow too. That's not bad. Okay. I think I can even get a little bit darker over here. Okay. Alright. Let's see, I'm going to make these a little bit. Let's see if I can find the right color. I'm going to make it more in the warm color. Alright. Let's see. It's weird, it's like so many different colors. I'm just trying to pick them out. I'm gonna get lighter over here. Alright, so I've been talking about a couple of different things today. Oops. I think we can add one type of light. Okay. I want to even add just a little bit of like blue. Let's find a pencil. Lighter though. Alright, that feels better. And I might even want to come in with like, let's see. see. It feels like putting a puzzle together so very often. It might feel dark now, but let's see. If I put it on multiply and I take the opacity down, let's see how it feels. I think I want to use a different brush. I think I just want to use a flat brush for this. So what I'll do is let's delete that and use like a let's use this. I think I like that. I think I do want to use that. But I'll probably have to put like a highlight over it. That's okay. Alright, so just adding some shadow over there. And maybe even a little bit. Where are my objects? Where's the dresser at? Bed frame, cushion. Oh, it is here. So I can use it on the same layer. I can probably add some. No? Oh. Oh, I get it. I'll have to put it on top of this one. Okay. So I'm going to delete this. And redo that. Oh, wrong layer. Delete. Alright. Make sure I'm saving. And I will delete this. Add a little bit more over here. Alright, but I think I want to take the opacity down a bit. So 20. Alright. Okay. Progress. Alright, so now I would like to focus in on the bed area. Okay. So for that, let's find where even the bed sheets are. You know what? Let me even out this. Then I grab that polygonal lasso tool again and just even out. Where her rug is. So let's see. Okay, good. I was wondering if like a little bit more blue so I can determine it. Oops, wrong color. And I'll grab my lasso tool again. see, I feel like I don't like that angle, I don't think. So let me start from here. These birds in my neighborhood are like non-stop with this car alarm sound. They've just been doing it constantly. Alright, let's try this. Okay, that feels a little bit better, but still a little bit off perspective-wise. That's better, I think. But still a little bit. I'm trying to measure it up with the dresser. Let's see. Is it coming out too? I think it's also coming out too far now. Oh boy, let's see if I can get this right. Let's hold on a second. Hold on, let me get it. Okay, let's see how this works. Alright, I'm not mad at it. And that's also a little bit too thick, so let's take it down so here. Okay, that's good. I feel happy with that, I think. Hold on. I think maybe just a little bit that way. Is that better? Let me make sure it's even though. Alright, this should be good. I feel like this one is like a very slow burn. Where is my bed sheet? Let me find it. Bed. There's a bed. Okay. So let's see. I want to work on this for a little bit, I think. And I'm just going to grab the regular lasso tool because I want to and maybe I'll put this on a separate layer. I think I will, at least to start. It's like this top blanket. Which I think I will make just a little bit tint darker than the other one. Because it's like this bedspread. to, let's see, I'm gonna select my inverse just so I can delete this other part of the bed. Okay. Alright, so top covers, call it for now. And I think I'm gonna, let's see a second. Should be a little bit more. Grab this again. It's not perfectly even. I guess it shouldn't be. It's, you know, fabric. Oh crap, what did I do? There we go. Okay, why does this feel weird? Alright, so let's zoom out a bit. And if there's any part missed, I can just go back and fill that in. Alright, so what I want to do is start adding some texture to this. Oops. I gotta remember to keep that on envelope because I do that. And I wonder, thinking if, or to myself, if I want to use another type of brush to see what other types of dry brushes I have over here. Okay. I need to just do a little bit of back and forth to try and get the type of look I'm trying to go for and even it out.
Go a little bit bold right there, and then get darker. And this part is not very different than doing like traditional. At least I don't think so. It doesn't feel drastically different to me. It's like has to go through its ugly phase a little bit before you get it to where it wants to be, which is exactly what you have to do with traditional. Just kind of trust the process a little bit. No, it's just gonna take a minute to get where it needs to be. I think we can go just a touch darker in here. It's a lot of back and forth just so that you can blend how it needs to be blended. Give yourself whatever time it needs though, because if it needs time, then it just needs time, you know, to get those colors how you want them to be. Trust the process, even if the process annoys you at times. It'll get there. It'll get where it needs to be. The less you hold on to it looking like finished before it's finished, the much more pressure you take off yourself, and the more enjoyable it's going to be, the whole thing. And you put this pressure to like have it look done before it's done, it's like you're going to get frustrated quick. Just know that it's going to get where it needs to be, and there's nothing to fret about, nothing to worry about. Trust in the process. Know it'll get where it needs to go. Every painting has an awkward phase. Every painting has its ugly duckling moment. That's normal. Just let it be ugly for a minute. I think it's really like one of the best like painting advices I could give is just let it. It's okay. Let it be ugly for a minute. It's gonna do that. That's what happens. Still cooking. Let it cook. Nobody ever judges a chicken before it's cooked and says, "Ew, doesn't look cooked yet." Because you know, like once it's out of the oven, it's going to look good to you people who eat meat. I don't. So those of you who do, it's going, you know what it's going to be when it's done. after it gets out of the fryer or whatever. Same for me. Or like a cake. You can look at a raw cake and be like, ooh, what's wrong with that cake? It's not cooked yet. It has to bake. I think you should treat your art the same and just know that it's on its way when it's on its way. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of detail to my character before we head out. Just because I want to see her with some detail. Alright. And maybe I will just go ahead and make a clipping mask. Alright. So same thing. Just go ahead and start smaller brush. The original artist put a lot of shadow around that eye, I guess just to clarify that shape of the head, or define the shape of the head. Typically darker than I would go with the character, but let's see what happens. Kind of try and I want to find like some of the mid-tones. That are being used. find some of these middle ground colors. I wanted to find a hair as being very separate from the rest of the character. Oh, I need to do that. This brush is actually really nice for textured hair. And there's actually like some purple in the eyes. Use some of this purple. Oops. Find an eraser. I want it to be less pink. There's even a pretty bright glow in the eye. And while we're here, let's get in some of that texture on the nose. I'll make a little bit lighter in the bottom. A little bit darker here. I might even want to use my pencil brush just for a second there too. If I can find where it is. It's not the same one, but let me try this one, see how I like it. It's a little bit thick. Okay. I don't know if it's me, it feels like is it not showing up? A little bit. It's subtle, which is good. Just need to make sure it was working at all. Just want to make sure that everything looks clear too. I think I want to define the top of the eyes a little bit more, so I'll add a little black just to add some more definition. Alright, let's add some more detail over here. Define this character up a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the dress a little bit more. Or her nightgown, I should say. Oops. Careful not to go over too much. I should probably do this on a separate layer so I could just delete wherever it crossed over, but I think it's okay for now. For what we're trying to accomplish here. Okay, almost done. Almost done for today. Oops. And I would probably just go ahead for the hands and just go in with a pencil and sort of lighten up some of those spots where I have her fingers, to kind of define those a little bit better. And little stuff like the little shine on her forehead, stuff like that makes a difference. Okay. What about her little elephant? I think I'll just put it on alpha lock to do the color for the elephant. I'm going to define some of these shapes here. Alright, and I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the sky. It has like a cool tint to him. Or her. Okay. Just want to refine a little bit of that shadow. There. Under the nose and such. Alright, so lastly for today, I just want to add a little bit of the highlight on these guys. And I'm going to make it yellow. And I'm probably going to, oops. Let's see, I'm going to make this, let me group this. And group that, and I'm going to make it a clipping mask of this. Okay, so now hopefully, yes. Hello doggy, my doggy's bothering me now. She's like, where's my food at? Where's my food at, lady? It's coming. So I will make it like glow, but first I just want to put it on here. Through her dress here. This is going to be fun. And just a little bit here. A bit more of her hair right there. Okay. And right there. Alright, and I'm going to call this layer soft light. Usually overlay does it, but it's still too dark. Hard light, soft light, vivid light. Let's see. Lighten, screen. Color dodge. Pin light, soft light. Vivid light. Maybe I'll do it like a hue luminosity. Maybe I'll just do luminosity. Maybe I'll do this and just brighten it. I think that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I wonder if I want to make it glow too. Just ever so subtly. Not too much. Let's see. Just a little bit. Okay, so this is where we're at for now. I think we made a lot of progress. It looks like we're getting somewhere. We're getting a lot farther than we were when we started. So very awesome. I'm excited to see how this comes out at the end. We're probably a little bit past the halfway mark, but making a lot of progress. There's some more effects to be added, some more fun stuff to be added. I think this is going to be a good one. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, and thank you so much for being a part of studying the masters. This again is, the artist's name is Vashti Harrison, and the book is Sulway. So if you guys want to grab the book and just do your own studies, I think it's a great reference. All right, so thank you so much for joining me again. Have an awesome weekend, and I will see you in the next one. All right, be grateful, live balanced, be yourself. Bye-bye.